Welcome to Spirit Connection Live. I'll just start again. Doug Addison here. It's September 2nd, 2015. I got a powerful prophetic word to release to you. And so now we're going to roll with this. A little bit of warfare at the beginning. We'll probably edit it out later on. But I had to shift microphones. This is going to be an amazing month, an exciting time, because September is the Jewish holiday called Rosh Hashanah, which falls on September 13th to the 15th this year. And then Yom Kippur comes right behind. That's September 22nd to the 23rd. And it's considered one of the most holy Jewish holidays. And, you know, even though we're no longer under the Jewish law, God still operates on the Jewish calendar. And, you know, historically, Jewish people have believed that God examines our life during the time between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to see if we're ready for spiritual promotion. This really is something that the Jewish people believe and they look to. That's why they repent at that time on the Day of Atonement. And we don't need to do that. But what we do have, though, from this is there's a time, whether you know it or not, that God is actually speaking to us and talking about our direction for the next year. So many of my friends were having all these for a number of years. My friends were having these experiences right around this time, and I never did. I always felt less than. You know, I never had these encounters. Then one day God spoke to me and said, "Look at your journal." These a few years ago. And so I went back to my journals right around Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur every year. Maybe I didn't have a visitation, but God was definitely speaking to me. It might not have been on those exact days. So, but God was speaking. So now I make time. I clear the way. I make time. So don't be discouraged if something doesn't happen big for you. But watch for God to speak to you this month through dreams, through hearing his voice, however you might be. So let's go over some prophetic words for September. One of the first ones I want to release is that the gifts are being redistributed right now. This is a time where the gifts and callings that people have either let go of, maybe they've died, maybe that whatever. These are the gifts and callings are now being redistributed back into the kingdom. It's for the purpose of advancing the kingdom of God. Now listen to me. This does not mean that you get a mantle from someone. In fact, God spoke to me is that he's not giving out mantles right now because it would take too long to prepare you. My goodness, what I walk in, the mantle of love I walk in, has taken me years to prepare. If it was put on someone right away at full power, it would kill you. But God wants to get these gifts back out. So that's why he's redistributing the gifts themselves back into the kingdom. And here's what happened to me. Earlier this year, I had an encounter with an angel. And this angel came in right at about 3 a.m. and handed me a key. It was a tarnished key. And it had belonged to a previous leader. And he told me that the key was the key to life and death. And it was similar to the key of David mentioned in Revelation chapter 3, verse 7. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. And so, at that time, I don't know if you know this, I was really sick earlier this year, and I used that key on myself. I tried a few different things, but I used it to get a strategy for life, right? Life and death. It's not to kill people, but life and death would be, life would bring new life to people, and then death to the old things. Death, close that thing off, and death to the old stuff and life to the new. And so what I did was I got a strategy for myself. I got out of the prison of sickness, and I've been healed now. And now I've noticed that when I use this gift, it's not like I'm holding a key or anything like that. My goodness, it's just a gift. God put it in the spirit. And I noticed that I have new prophetic authority when I minister. So these are prophetic keys in helping people. And so this is an example of what I'm trying to say to you, that these gifts are being redistributed. So watch for something to come your way. Get ready for new things. Get ready. This is another word, that your understanding is about to be stretched. God is doing things right now that is outside of our comfort zone. And we're being challenged right now to get outside. And a new wave of revelation is being released to help us progress into new effectiveness. This is really important because we're entering into a new era. And that's why we've been kind of teetering on this time of transition where the old things haven't been working, the new things haven't been fully released. We're stepping into a new era, and it will require us going, to let go of some doctrines, some belief systems that will no longer work in this new season. And now it's still going to be biblically based, of course, but it's definitely going to stretch some people. So we need a radical move of God, right? We need one right now with his love and power to reach a radical world right now. And this is, God told me it was very similar to Isaiah 54:2. Enlarge the place of your tent, stretch the tent curtains wide, do not hold back, lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. And so this stretching is going to enlarge your area, but you got to also dig deep. You've got to go down deep because there's a new wind of change coming by the Spirit that's going to bring increase in your life, but it's going to blow off the things that are not of the kingdom, old beliefs, things that maybe even things that we were doing previously. They're going to be blown away. In this new season, God's going to release new financial strategies. He's going to expand you into new insight, new levels of the prophetic. He's going to release new music, deeper intimacy. So I want to pray that right now. Open it up over you right now. God, we just pray that we be anchored in you, anchored, that dig your tent stakes deep, and that the wind would blow over us all right now and increase. God, we prepare right now by stretching things. And Lord, stretch us that we can take this new, because we know we need the new, because the old isn't effective anymore. In Jesus' name. Yeah, so here's another prophetic word, and I'm calling it what's in your basement. And God is calling some people to relinquish things that are no longer being used or that others can benefit from. This is a time like never before that we need to share kingdom resources. So a few months ago, I had a dream in which there were people who were called to start new things. We were all on a beach, actually, and we needed resources. We needed firewood. We needed different things. And in the dream, there were individuals, businesses, churches that had all these things stockpiled, and but they weren't using them. And so I went up and asked, can we use some of your stuff, And they were afraid. They were fearful. They were holding onto it in case, like people are doing with finances right now. They're holding on in case the economy crashes. Listen to me. Don't hoard right now. This is not a time to hoard things. This is a time to expand the kingdom. The more that you give, the more you receive. And God is calling people to freely give to others. I'm not talking about just money, but it might be money, equipment, investments, businesses, buildings, facilities, even people. If there's people that that would benefit, get the kingdom perspective. We'll have the big payoff in this season right now. So don't hold back. Don't hoard things right now. In fact, God is speaking to some people right now, and someone needs a car. And so there's other people who have an extra car or have one that they could give. I heard the Lord say there's land and unused facilities that are needed by others right now. And there's computers, there's musical equipment. These are specific words I'm getting. Musical equipment, musical instruments. Also, consider offering your facility free or below market or something to help out these new groups that are rising up right now, these new kingdom things. One thing that Bob Jones told me all the time when he talked about the billion harvest that was coming, he said that, wow, we're going to need a lot of money because they don't have a lot themselves. And that's where we are right now, and we need to prepare for this. So here's another prophetic word for September, is that music is going to activate things in your life. I had a dream just last month, a couple weeks ago actually, that a prophet who was involved in a previous move of God came into my dream, and he had had an anointed musical instrument, and he brought it out. He brought out this stylish black fiddle, and he began to play. And as he did this, it released new prophetic insight. It was like the ability to see and understand things in the spiritual level was increasing. And in the dream, then, he handed me a black fiddle as well. It was a different one, but the bow looked like a car windshield wiper. It was the weirdest thing. And I thought it wasn't loud enough to play, but I was surprised that I was able to play, which I don't play the fiddle, but in the dream I could play it perfectly, and I was able to play skillfully the song, I Saw the Light. So windshield wipers talk about, seeing, the ability to see. I saw the light. The guy is going to do something, this new anointing on music right now, and it's going to release something over people on a greater level for insight. So watch for certain songs that bring God's presence. And those who write songs are going to start getting something new, and it's going to be really a powerful time over the next few months. I'm finding myself, whenever I get in worship now, I have to pop my computer on because I'm taking pages of notes, and because of the presence and music is opening up seeing and the ability to see in the spiritual realm. All right, here's another word. Something happened in 2005, and there were a lot of things back then that got stopped. I remember this. I was prophesying this and talking about it. I was telling people to look back to your calendar back in 2005, look back to '05, and that there was something where it started going one way, then suddenly it stopped. For us, we were given a grant for $125,000 to open an outreach coffee house in Los Angeles back in 2005. Then everything went the opposite way. We had to end up giving the grant back. We had moved away from LA for a number of years. But God used that. He used it to save our lives, number one. And number two, he used that to bring something new. But it wasn't clear what was happening. So God told me that now here it is. it's 10 years later, but 11 years later, next year, 2016, he's going to bring those things back, those old promises, those things that he had spoken before. It might not be in the exact same way, but it's coming back around. So go back and look at what was going on in 2005 in your life. That's why it's important to journal. And back then, I was writing and speaking about this all the time. I had a prophetic word about the 11s, the 11-year intervals of God. And I was seeing 11:11 on the clock. And so I knew that this was, before '05, I saw this. I knew that the last move of God was 1994, the Toronto blessing. And then prior to that, now this is kind of give or take a little bit. It's not a precision. But prior to that was about 11 years before. 1983 was the third wave charismatic movement with John Wimber, Peter Wagner, opened up the Vineyard churches, opened up Calvary chapels, opened up things, like everyone, we become naturally supernatural. Everyone's a minister. It was a powerful time. Go back 11 years before that, 1972, the Jesus People movement was rocking, where the hippies started to come to God. Now that was an amazing time. Now I'm talking about North America. This is North America. That also affected the entire world. Every one of these moves had a root in North America, but it affected the entire world. Go back 11 years from 1972. 1961 was the height of the charismatic renewal. And this is where the Holy Spirit wasn't just with the Pentecostals anymore. My goodness, it started coming into the Catholic Church, the Baptists. We had Baptist-Costals and Presbymatics, and a lot of people who didn't even have a theology for being Spirit-filled were being rocked. And it started in 1959, but really kind of went, in 61, kind of went global at that point. Go back 11 years, it hits 1950, the healing movement. A. Allen, William Branham, Oral Roberts, clearing out hospitals. Oh my goodness, what a powerful time it was. Go back 11, just keep going back. It falls on the 1906 Azusa Street revival, was the rebirthing of the Holy Spirit into the churches in North America that actually affected the entire world. Go up from 1906, go up 11 years. 1917, Amy Semple McPherson launched her international ministry, and she was the last person to ever reach Hollywood, for real. And if you go back from 1906, you go back to 11 years, you'll see that it falls on a few major movements, including Mariah Woodworth Etter. So God spoke to me about these 11-year intervals. 94 was the last one that we really saw move. And so he spoke to me that in 2005, we were going to see a move of God. And I was out preparing people for it. 2005 came and nothing ever happened. And I didn't, I was like, wonk, wonk. I had no idea, like, what happened. And so I just stayed humble in the midst of that. And then in 2009, God spoke to me, and I had a dream that I saw the earth. I saw the earth, and it was plush with green, and God was doing something. And suddenly, it was like this line of wilderness came and took out the green. And I heard the audible voice of God in the dream. Listen to me. The audible voice of God in the dream told me that the move of God in 2005 was the wilderness. The Lord said we weren't ready for it. We didn't prepare ourselves. If he would have come, it would have made our condition worse. We weren't ready. He did do a few drops in 2008 to see how people would respond. And look what happened. My goodness, in Lakeland, my friend Todd Bentley, I love him. He's back in ministry. He's doing this stuff. But in 2008, with just a few drops, it caused such a stir within the church. Some people even left. They left Christianity instead of continuing to follow God. So God was testing us during that period, and he spoke to me that it's another 11 years from 2005. 2016 is the next move of God, and as it's 22 years later, it's coming with interest and repayment. And I prophesied this. I'm telling you that, not 22. Oh yeah, 22 years from the 1994. We are overdue right now. So I heard the God say, "What time is it? What time is it?" Then I heard a voice say, "It's time for a major movement in 2016." And so I just believe God's doing something. And so I'll be releasing on my blog this week that word about the dream and about all those things. I'll be talking more about it because it's part of the 2016 prophetic word. Oh my goodness. Yes, God's doing something new. I have a prophetic word for Fresno, California. I heard God say that he's uncovering and releasing gold that will ignite a new flow. It's going to impact the entire state, and it's going to flood into the U.S., but Fresno is the breadbasket of California, and it's a key people. We're going to come be fed and restored right now in Fresno. And yes, you're seeing people restored financially, seeing people restored with hope, and it's a really exciting time. Now, I got that word. I text that word to Todd Bentley, who's doing meetings there right now. Now, I don't know if those are the things, but something's being activated right now in Fresno, and we need to keep our eye on that because it shifted from another central California town that said no, never did anything with it, and now it's fallen on Fresno, and it's their time. So we just ask God to open that up. Here's another prophetic word, that the door to your promotion is coming. The doorway to promotion and advancement is coming through a deeper pruning time. And this is the prophetic word I'm releasing this month. You'll see it on my blog and some other websites. There are beliefs and doctrines and ways of operating that are no longer working, and they're no longer beneficial in the season. I mentioned that previously. But God is going to prune this right now. That means he's pointing out the things and removing those things that are no longer effective or needed. Now, what will remain is only the things that are of God's kingdom for this particular time. And although this might include sin, most people think of this as sin. It's primarily belief systems and doctrines that are limiting God and tying the hands of God from moving in your midst and in churches because it has to be in a certain way. Last Sunday, I heard the Lord. It was a download, and I had to take a page or two of notes when I heard this. But he spoke to me out of John 15, and he said, "This is it. This is what's happening in 2016." Here it is, John 15. Jesus says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch that does not bear fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes that it will be even more fruitful. And you are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and also I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself, but it must remain in the vine. So neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. So this is the word for 2015. Yes, remain in the Lord, but watch as he begins to prune and cut off things that are no longer affected. I know I've been walking through it. My goodness, I went through it while I was over in Germany. Also, I haven't been well over the last couple of years, but I just allowed that. I don't believe that sickness was from God by any means, but I definitely searched every crack and every crevice, every crack. I lifted things up. I repented. I really humbled myself during this time, and now it's time to move forward with the new things. The result of this time is going to be a deeper cleansing that's going to result in a closer relationship with God, and you'll have greater authority. This is from John 15:7. Now I'm continuing through John 15 here. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be given to you. So this is what God's doing. He's saying remain in him. But as you do this, as you go through this time of pruning, you will be able to ask whatever you wish because you're going to know what his heart is. And so God's desire for us is to have joy and unity. There's going to be healing for those who've been who've been operating in the opposite of this. And I tell you, it's everywhere. The people are operating in the opposite of joy. Here it is, John 15:11 and 12. I have told you this, that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete. My command is love each other as I have loved you. The Lord wants to have joy. He's not joyful about the condition of people right now. He's not joyful that the fact that his joy is not remaining in people. There's so much grumbling. There's so much backbiting. There's so much complaining and fear and doubt. And this is the time to grab hold of the fruit of the Spirit, to grab hold of joy. And check this out in verse 12. My command is love each other as I have loved you. You would think that verse dropped out of the Bible somewhere, where Jesus said the greatest command is to love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. My command is this, verse 12, love each other as I have loved you. This is the mandate right now. This is the time that God is pulling us back to the place of love and out of this political swirl that's going on and out of the fearful swirl that's happening, out of the prophetic swirl saying that things are going to crash and all this stuff. And where's the joy in that? God is still in command. Here's another piece of that word. And I'm getting this now from John 15:13 through 15. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for your own friends. And you are my friends, Jesus said, if you do that, what I command. If you do what I command, he commanded you to love other people. I am no longer calling you servants because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I am calling you friends. Wow. For everything that I have heard from the Father, I've made known to you. And God, I tell you, this is a time when the friends and family plan needs to get activated. God is calling us to go beyond servant mode, where we only do what we're told. We're living by rules and regulations. That's actually a religious spirit. And he's calling us to be friends and family, that we may know the kingdom of God. It's like a family-owned business, and that we have to have ownership in it. And we just got to get into this right now. We must love other people. And that there is just no way around it. We must love other people. And this is the time that God is calling He's calling you from that servant mode into a friend. And the only doorway to get there is through love. through loving other people. This, I tell you, as we move closer to God's purposes, we will gain deeper insight into the Master's business. And God's commanding us right now. Love is the key to what we do. It's the overlooked commandment. But God is calling us back to the simplicity of love like Jesus did. You know, this means that we have to love people that are different from ourselves. We have to love people that aren't the same political party. Listen to me. We have to love people. We have to love those who have tattoos and piercings, those who are, addicted to drugs and into pornography, those who are in, the gay and lesbian community. We must love these people. We must love. This is the part that the stretching that is coming, that God is calling you to love so that you can have greater authority. And some people are just appalled at me when I say this. And they said, well, I'm not going to come into agreement. I don't want them to think I agree with them. Oh, believe me, they know that you don't agree with them. Extend a hand of love right now. Extend a hand and see what happens. And then here's the final part. John 15, verse 16 and 17. Jesus says this to you. If you do this, listen, you did not choose me, for I have chosen you, and I have appointed you that you might bear fruit that will last. Listen to me. So that whatever you ask for in the Father's name will be given to you. This command, he says it again, love each other. And this is the command. He's appointed you right now. If you're hearing my words and you've had anything against anybody, this is the time to love. And I'm telling you, you got to lay down your own thinking or whatever it is and reach out in all humility so that you're called to bear fruit. That's in Galatians 5:22 and 23. That's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I might have left one out. Hopefully I got them all. But that's it. And you'll know you have it behind the wheel of your car. You know you have it the way you're treating people, the way you might even be treating political officials or the own president. You will know you have the fruit of the Spirit if you're able to step up and pray God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven instead of cursing people. This is not my opinion. This is the word of the Lord for right now. And love is what's going to get us through this new season and operating. If you've been operating on fumes right now, it's time to refuel with love. And it really is that time. So I just want to close with this prayer. Father, we pray for that. And I'm not trying to push an agenda here. I heard you. I heard your voice, Lord, and I know that I'm your friend and that you're calling people right now, that you have appointed them. You've appointed people to love others. You've appointed people to be peacemakers and to be bearers of the good news instead of agreement with the bad news. And I just break this political swirl, this negative political swirl that's out there. I break this fear of people pulling their money out of the market because it's going to crash. I break this and say that God's kingdom is way bigger than that. And I tell you, I just release this now in Jesus' name. Yes, I'm going to vote, and I can't wait to vote. But I'm not going to speak against other people. I might not like some people, but I'm not going to make a strong case against them, because that is not what God's doing right now. And it's time really just to pray and watch God move. All right. So, hey, remember my website, DougAddison.com, my free ebook. You can go there and download it, Night Dreams, Reveal Your Life Dreams. Also, consider donating. If you're watching this live, we have a donate button at the top. If you're not, go to DougAddison.com, click on the donate button. Consider becoming a partner with us. You know that I tell you, I'm shocked that my favor around the world is high right now. And I don't even travel all that much, but it's from the internet and releasing these teachings and the things that we do. And I went over to Europe and I found out that, wow, there's all kinds of people following my prophetic words, my daily prophetic, my monthly words are being translated into languages everywhere. I was so encouraged. But I need partners. I need people to partner with us, because what we do is not cheap, and we want to continue to expand the kingdom. We want to continue to minister into people. My office is on Venice Beach, and So that's one area that's one group that we work with, and people in the Hollywood industry. And also, we're helping train the church how to hear the voice of God, understand your dreams, and discover your destiny. And so I'm excited about that. But here's some live events. I still do them. Yep. In fact, I'm doing one in Los Angeles in Culver City, Saturday, September 12th, from 6:30 to 10 p.m. It's me and Mary Crowley, and she is the other tall blonde besides me that was in Father of Lights. That's Mary Crowley in there. That she was with me in the outreaches and things like that. We're going to be at the Veterans Memorial Complex. Go to my website, DougAddison.com, click on the events tab. And also, I'm going to be doing a new interactive online workshop called Flip Your Financial Future, Saturday, September 19th, 10 to noon. If you haven't been part of these webinars, this is a paid this one isn't free, but it's only $37. And I tell you, people have been getting blasted and getting blessed, and things happen. And God gave me this strategy to do this. And I just did one on activating the supernatural, which you can still watch the replay. You can still sign up for the next couple of days. But this is the one coming up. I think it's going to be top all the other ones. So we're going to be releasing more information on it. But let me just tell you this. My journal entry, I was just reading this, July 12th. July of 2012, July 22nd, 2012, I came across this journal entry. We were down to $1,000 in the bank, my ministry. We had to make payroll, which was definitely way bigger than that. I had no event scheduled because I had so many people speaking against me because of the love message I had just started and about the tattoos, prophesying over tattoos. And in my journal entry, I said, today I updated my resume because it's time for me to find another way to support myself because people in the church no longer support me. And so I cried out to God. I tried to get a job. I wasn't going to quit my ministry at that time. That was just a short time ago. And then God gave me some strategies on how to get out of debt. I want to share them in how to flip your financial future because that's what I did. How to break the back of poverty over your life and your generational line. Kingdom financial strategies that actually work that I've been using for years through a relationship with God. I got them from an angelic encounter in South Africa. How to work online, get a job on the internet, or make extra money on the internet, or promote your ministry on the internet. You know that we are now primarily an internet-based ministry, and that 80% of my staff is virtual. We have 2 offices, but there's not many people there. Most of our staff, 80%, is located all over the country. And we connect in and we create a virtual environment. In fact, the staff is pulling tonight and helping. Just love the new staff that we have. And how to start a business or a ministry, how to get out of debt. We got out of $30,000 in debt. I gave $1 million strategy to a guy, and I just want to just really talk about that. And I can't say I'm going to give you one, but release something. And then this stuff's going to come out in a book later on, but I want you to catch it right now with the power of the impartation that's coming with it. And so guess what? We have a surprise tonight. My staff wanted to do this, and they text me this information. For the next hour, right now, if you're watching the live only, the next hour from the next hour after we end this, we're going to put up a link at the end on the chat window. And you'll be able to get $5 off for tonight only for that webinar. You're signing up early. That goes away tomorrow, so it'll only be $32. So it was an early bird for 1 hour for those who are watching late. After that, we're going to release the information on it next week and sign up. Maybe later this week or next week. I'm not sure. I think it might be on Friday. All right, but I'm coming to Wisconsin, Colgate, Wisconsin, the Dream Interpretation Training Conference. It's put on by... I think it's, I forgot the name of the ministry there, but it's at Woodland Hills Church in Colgate. But then Sunday morning, it didn't get out on the internet. I'm going to be speaking at Uplink Church in, Menomonee, I think, Falls, Wisconsin. Sorry, I mispronounced that. But that's on September 26th and 27th, and 25th and 26th for the Dream Conference. And the 27th is Sunday morning. I'm going to be releasing prophetic words over people as well. It's going to be very exciting. Okay, DougAddison.com. Stay connected with me. Remember that. And so I'm going to go to some Q&A. We got Pam in the chat room here. Let me just shift screens and find out where she is and what kind of questions we have. Thank you so much for our entire staff who's putting things through. I love the questions that we have submitted. They're some powerful one. Here's one is how do you, let me go back. How do you know when to pray a word, a prophetic word over a person versus releasing it? How to just pray only or how do you know the timing to release a word? Well, it takes practice. It's like anything. How do you know when to call a friend, especially if when to do it? I default to praying for the person first. Also, if I get a prophetic word, I let it examine me first. I repent of anything. Then it takes time. It takes practice. That's all I got to say. And so then ask God to show you. I just know. I just have got to have this thing. But if you're going to do this, if you're going to move in the prophetic, you've got to be willing to look foolish. You've got to be humble. You need to be willing to be rejected. And so, there's no hurry to release things, over people. Praying is just as powerful because you agree with heaven over the person. So it takes time. Here's another one. Can anyone pray an activation prayer over someone else? Is it the same as a normal prayer? Okay, you hear me talk about activation prayer. And activating prayer is where you actually pray to activate that same thing in another person. Here's how, yes, the answer to the question, yes, you can. Anybody can do it by faith. I find myself doing it in areas that God has given me favor. But you know what? I activated people in finances when I was in debt, but I had financial breakthrough previous to that, and the enemy came back and hit me. But you can do it. Yes, you can. Is it different than a normal prayer? Well, it's a prayer prayed in faith, activation. You speak into someone's life. I activate the prophetic over you right now. And I don't understand it works in the spiritual realm, but you can give it a try and see what happens. Wow. Here's another a question. I find that dreaming disturbs my sleep and I feel tired in the morning. Is this normal for godly dreamers? Well, it is for me. And I interact at night. So maybe you're one of those interactors at night. Yes, I wake up tired in some seasons, not always. I wake, but sometimes I go places, I just do things, in dreams. And so, yes, that could happen. And I try to go to bed early because of that, and try to make room for it because I know that's how it works. Here's another one. I've been struggling with physical issues and I'm trying to figure them out. And I am angry at God that he's not healing me. I know this is wrong, but what can I do? Well, first of all, you're not alone. I believe that so many people were angry at God or are angry at God. Let me just clear the air right now. And I was for a number of years. And part of my healing came when I finally realized who God really is. And the enemy is the one who's trying to get you discouraged. It's not God. There's a lot. It's so complicated. There's so many things in the healing strategies and the layers of things. But here's what you need to do. You need to create the environment of faith around you. Faith is believing and trusting the things that you do not see. You trust those things. Number one is God is for you. He is not against you. Once you seed the atmosphere with faith, that kind of faith, that God is for you and he is not against you, then you come into agreement on earth as it is in heaven. In heaven, there is no sickness. In heaven, there isn't any doubt. There isn't all the struggles. And you need to come into agreement with that. Repent, ask God to remove it from you. Work these things out. Maybe even there's sozo prayer over this. This would be a good one. You can Google that. You can do it online even. Get someone to pray with you about releasing any anger that you have with God, because that's going to be a key to your healing. All right, thanks for being open about that. Here's another one. How do I know if what a level of authority that I have over a region? Well, with me anyway, that my prophetic authority it started with the home group I was in, a Bible study, and I had authority to release words in that. Maybe you don't even have that much. If you don't, then it's in your house or in your own life. Then you'll start noticing as you're releasing things Does it expand? God will give you favor. With me, it expanded in my church when someone got healed because of one of the things. It was a radical encounter happened from a word I gave back in 1992, and that opened to my church. And then eventually, about a year later, that opened to my community even more. And in 1993 and 4, it opened to my work and to my job. And it never opened over the entire city of San Francisco that I was in, but I had that type of favor. How do you know? People listen to you. People start seeking you out. That's how you know. And if you don't have it, don't push it, because God's testing you during these times. Good question. Here's another question. What brings gold dust and jewels? Now, we've heard this. If you're not aware of it, Darren Wilson did an amazing movie called Finger of God, where he documented some of this, the gold fillings and different things and gemstones and jewels appearing. They're brought in by angels most of the time. And what brings them? Someone who has that particular anointing. I don't know. You can ask God. I don't have those. I don't see those around my ministry much. Not because I don't want to, but I don't know why. But I'm gifted in a different way. It's like having a bunch of kids. And one kid wants the gift that the other kid has, wants to sing, and they don't have the ability. And we have to be grateful for the gifts we do have. But at the same time, you can ask for it, that God brings it to you. Most of the time, he's not doing it because it would wipe us out. In fact, a lot of people, if you look, a lot of people who have had that gifting, and even churches, got wiped out from the adulation. All of a sudden, they were put on the map, and people start coming there, and they're challenged, and all kinds of things start happening. There's usually church splits and lots of things like that. So I see things personally, though. Wow, another good question. Here's another. How do I protect the supernatural environment of my home? Well, I'm not sure what part of your home you need to do that, but just pray, anoint on a regular. But what I do is, if I start seeing things that are out of line, weird stuff happening, strange dreams, spiritual warfare, we anoint the doorpost. We just go around, anoint the house with oil, and worship. You can do that. That will help do it. Now, you might live in a house where there's unbelievers. That's okay. It's not like they're going to come in and defile you. Greater is the one in you than the one in the world. You don't need to live in fear. But you can have a place that's yours. I have a chair. My office right now is in Venice Beach at a co-working environment. And so it's not like I've have this office where nothing can cross that line. But it's in one way, it's that way. I mean, in my office, people feel peace. In the midst of a lot of turmoil. That's all on the outside. I hope that helps you understand that. So there are some things. Here's another one. Are you seeing angels in dreams? When I see angels in dreams, is it symbolic or literal? Well, sometimes they're symbolic. Sometimes there's people I know that appear as angels. And other times they're faceless people. Those are symbolic that the angels. And other times it's literal. There are times when there are literally an angel in my dream. So it's never the same each time. Wow, great questions. How can I discern the root causes of attacks over people and pray for the release over them? Take notes. That's the only way to do it that I know of, is to take notes. If you take notes of things that you're seeing, we'll need to pray in that spiritual gift that it's in 1 Corinthians 12, discerning of spirits, and pray it in, and then how to respond. Again, that just takes practice. And journaling and practice before you can really go into it really far. But you can start practicing that. How can I get back the simple faith again and trust God and not be afraid? Well, first things, take authority over fear. That's a spirit trying to hold you down. And here's why. Anyone who's struggling right now with the spirit of fear, you're not alone. And we need to break the spirit of fear, because it is opposite of God's calling over you. And God has an amazing calling. That's why the spirit of fear, that's why the enemy is trying to come against you. Fear is a demon. It really is. It's not like something that a lot of people guard it, like, oh, don't mess with my fear. I have a good reason to be afraid. I had all these things happen to me. No, break that. Break that thing right now. Get back to that simplicity. I don't know what that simplicity looks like for you, but I would minister, and again, I would do some type of some type of personal inner healing, restoring the foundations, Elijah House, whatever it might be. Get some prayer, find someone to agree with you, do what I do. I take communion every day. I have the little communion cup, and I take it every single day, and I ask God's body and his blood to come on me. I don't have a high expectation for what I read. On my quiet time, I used to have a higher level and quiet time than I do now. Right now is because I don't want to fall into legalism right now. And so just take what God's given you and get back to that simple, simple joy. All right. I'm going to shift here to some dreams, but get some water first. Here's a dream someone submitted. When we have a dream that we know that is very important for the church, what do we do with it besides pray? At what point is God giving us, giving us these types of dreams? How do you know if it's for you or the church? Well, let me just say this. With me, I get both. And because I know that, I have studied my own dreams for years, and I journal every single day. That's how I know. But if you have this gift to get things for others as well, observing dreams and that type of thing, you will need to examine yourself first. So that's how you know. I always, because Jesus said, remove the log or the plank from your own eye before you try to remove the speck in your brother's eye. And you would never judge another person or try to bring change. Even with my ministry, when we're meeting in our staff meetings and we start hearing the Lord, first thing is I repent. Oh God, I repent, whether we've done this knowingly or unknowingly. See, that way you have authority to be able to do it. Humility is what's going to give you the ability to release words into the church. You prepare yourself now. You will be rejected. That's part of it. And it's biblical. I tell you, you'll walk through seasons where no one will believe you. You'll walk through the loneliest times, but this means God is preparing you. And so don't take it personally at all. Okay, let's see what else we have. 2 different people gave me envelopes of money. One of them was a sheet of $35 million, and we were in a warehouse, and one was in a warehouse for $85 million. Okay, so money can be real money, but sometimes it can be favor. And favor, that would increase. I would experiment around with what that 35 and the 85 is. Maybe it's Psalm 35 and Psalm 85. Check it out. But it's saying that God has something stored up for you, and it's time to discover that. All right. Here's a dream. I was in a construction site, and I saw 6 different types of huge trucks. They left all at once, and I heard a voice saying, "Our work is done. We are pulling out." All right, well, that's saying that right now there's an angelic shift happening over your life, and that there was something completed, and now it's time to move into something new, and especially if it's a construction site. God's doing something new, but you're moving into a new phase of that construction. All right, here's another dream. Let me get it up in front of me. Last night, my dream was that I had a situation where a big wave wiped out a city. Well, these are usually symbolic. They're almost always symbolic. And waves can be a move of the Holy Spirit. And wiping out a city means it's probably not going to happen. It's probably something that God's going to come in. Like I was saying, He's expanding your understanding right now. He's wiping out the old things and bringing the new. However, feel free to pray over that city. The first thing I do is I pray, oh God, have mercy. Spare any lives in case that's real. And also if it's symbolic, I pray mercy for the ones that are being wiped out, the old belief systems. God still loves those people too, by the way. It's not like He comes in, sets up a new order, and wipes everybody out like some movie. All right, here's another dream. My sister-in-law had a dream that I was on an airplane, and all of a sudden, the captain came on and pointed to me and told me that we were going in a different direction. And he came and got me and took me to the first class and told me not to worry about anything. Well, that's the Lord, the captain is. And your sister-in-law had this dream for you that God is doing something new right now. You're getting an upgrade, but it's in a different direction. It's very similar to the things I've heard, just, God say right now that it's time to do things, but it might look different. Congratulations. But here, hey, watch out, everybody. Listen to me. You can fall into prophetic pitfalls when you get revelation. Be sure to not suddenly lighten up and like, oh, I can just do anything. I can go in debt now because God's going to bless me financially. Or I can just lighten up. I can do these things. No, no, no. You need to stay focused, because if you got some clear revelation like this, you're probably going to go through the opposite. And so don't be surprised if you go through some bumpy times after this stuff. But people go through prophetic shipwrecks when they get a word and they think that now they can put things on autopilot. You're probably getting that word or dream because you need to push in, press in, and battle for it. Okay, here's one. A year ago, I saw part of my son's arm. This is a dream, reaching out the door, and I was reaching for him. And then last night I had a dream again, but I heard now pull Peter through the door. And I don't know if Peter is your son, but doors represent opportunities, and this is a time where your son is moving into a time of a new opportunity. He will need help getting there. That's the meaning of the dream. Very simple. Here's another dream. Is there a difference between dreams and visions? I may get a dream I have every 6 to 8 months, visions all the time. I cover this in my book, Understand Your Dreams Now, and also in my Dream Crash course. Go through this and on my blogs. You can check those out. But, dreams basically require interpretation. Visions tend to be literal, though they can be a dreamlike state. So, no, they're both revelation. One requires interpreting, the other doesn't. Even though you can have a vision, people are confused. They think that visions are, one thing and dreams are another. But they interact. The difference between them, you can have a vision at night or a dream during the day. You can have a dream at night or a vision at night. And so, read my book. It's not that expensive, really. And you'll be able to, it's available on Kindle or download or wherever. All right, great. All right, here's another one. I get repeated dreams that my purse is missing or stolen, but then found. That's your identity. That the enemy's trying to mess with your calling. He's trying to mess with who you are, but yet you're going to find it. Means that he will not succeed at it. Here's another one. Why do I have repeated dreams about high school acquaintances who are now in my Facebook friend? Well, it just depends on the dream, what was in the dream. And sometimes you can dream about, depends on where you are, how long ago you were in high school. But it could be that those, God's doing something in their life. You can have a dream about someone you haven't seen in 20 or 30 years, and it's something that you need to pray about over them. Or it could be symbolic for you that you need to go back to that season of your life, and God's doing something in that time right now. Last dream, I have a repeated dream of a man I know. But what does that mean? And again, that's one of the things I cover in my book and my training is how to know these things. How do you know if God is, who the people are? You have to ask yourself some questions about it. Were they themselves? Did you know them, or did you know their position? There are a few things that's just a little too deep to be able to go through right now. All right, so hey, we're coming to a close here, and I just want to say thank you very much to my team. But this is the time, if you want to go through the workshop that we're going to be doing. It's a webinar, paid webinar. It's going to be how to flip your financial future, and it's going to be in September. And I've mentioned it already, but it's on a Saturday, 2 hours. You don't have to attend it live. We'll send you the audio. We'll send you the replay as well. But one thing is that we have right now a link to save $5 just for the people who are listening to this live. It's only for the next hour. And so you'll be able to click on that link and save $5. You'll have to register now. It is on September 19th. It's a Saturday. Flip your financial future. It's going to be very powerful. All right, catch my live events coming up, and I'm going to be releasing some prophetic words. Make sure you watch for my blog and follow me on Facebook. Become a partner. Please I just wanted to say a little bit more about partnering. I send out an email, an insider email to our partners every single week with some inside updates that you see before, sometimes before, some never release. I also send a partner update message once a month. I'm sorry, I'm behind because I was in Germany. But you become a partner with us. You just go to my website, dougaddison.com, click on the donate, and partner is anyone who donates on a monthly basis. All right. Well, Father, we thank you for all the things that you're doing. And we thank you, God, that this is a season, a new season. We're moving into a season of change, of radical change, and that we can dig our tent stakes deep because that wind of change is blowing right now. And Father, we just push back those powers of darkness and that break the fear over people and release us into your joy in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, God bless you guys, and thank you to my entire staff and support staff for helping. And we'll see you next month.